Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Now this is a real off-the-cuff style video. I sat down today and I wanted to talk about something, and I was gonna have it as a talking point on the stream later, because I'm gonna be firing the stream up for a few hours this afternoon. I don't even know what I'm gonna do yet, if I'm honest with you. I'm torn between carrying on leveling my rogue or just cracking on and doing some more heroics and stuff on the druid. I wanted to talk about fresh servers, and not in particular just vanilla fresh servers. I'm talking, or classic era fresh servers. I want to talk about sort of TBC fresh servers as well, and the possibility of them now, because we know that there was this survey that went out. I made a video about it just over a week ago, I believe it was, talking about, you know, what changes would you like to see to classic era servers to be, but basically to make them worth playing, you know. So they even mentioned things such as higher tuned bosses, you know, and increased XP rates, basically turning them into a private server. You know, let's be fair, all the things they was talking about, it's not new. It's certainly not new to many of us who have experienced private servers in any capacity at all. Now, the thing is with this, it really opens itself up to be able to capture a wider audience now. So there will be those die-hard vanilla or classic era players, whatever you want to call them, but there will also be those die-hard TBC players who, at the drop of a hat, would happily switch to a fresh TBC server. In fact, what spurred me off on this was somebody said in a YouTube comment a couple of days ago, you should be using your sort of reach on YouTube to, you know, try and get Blizzard to be able to create private servers. Private servers, TBC servers. Now, by no means do I think my reach is far or wide enough to ever get any attention from Blizzard, if, you know, in that way. But I do genuinely think that it makes a good talking point for a video, because there's a lot of things with a fresh server that what it would do, you know, especially if they went into a fresh TBC server in the same mindset as they are with the vanilla classic era realms, where they're putting out this survey saying, would you like tuned content, would you like this, would you like that, even the pace of progression, you know, would you like it to basically last a year's worth of the game, and then it resets again, you know. So they're looking at all the things that, if we go back 6, 8, maybe 12 months when we was doing the regular podcasts here on this channel, we was talking about it all the time. We was talking about the possibility of quicker content, harder content. You know, how can they do it so people don't get bored? And these die-hard, you know, real sweaty, try-hard guilds that clear all content on the day that it's released, how do we keep them playing the game? So what I'm saying is, I think they should consider, when they launch these classic era fresh realms, which they're going to, if they've put a survey out about it, they're gonna launch fresh classic servers no matter what, because at the moment they've got an obligation to actually keep those classic era realms alive, because the whole announcement of BlizzCon, blah, blah, you know, the character clone tool to be able to make some extra money. They can't just let classic era realms die. So if they think they're going to be able to reinvigorate the player base that plays those realms, they're going to have to give people a reason to play, give people a reason to go back, and that'll be spicing it up a little bit with, you know, imagine Molten Core being tuned, for example. So just phase 1 content in classic era, and the bosses are actually hard, you know, where you can't carry people at, you know, level 55 in GDKP runs. You know, it's actually hard content, and, you know, it's tuned all the way through. Imagine Zul'Gurub, and you're wiping. You're wiping on Hakkar because it's so hard in the current gear level that you're in. I mean, it would even pique my interest a little bit, but what would pique my interest more is if they launched TBC, Fresh Realms as well. And maybe not at the same time, because if they launch fresh TBC Realms, then obviously that is going to impact probably the player base that would be going onto the classic era Fresh Realms. So maybe leave them 6 months apart. But, you know, it would be, I'd like to think that, you know, when we're in sort of phase 4, I would say phase 4 would be a good time, because phase 2, we're going to have SSC and TK. You know, phase 3, we're going to have Black Temple and Hyjal. Phase 4 is just ZA. So somewhere between phase 3 and phase 4 would be a great time, in my opinion, to launch some fresh TBC realms, but fresh TBC realms with challenging content. Not just challenging content, fast content, seasonal, shall we say, seasonal content. Now, it's at this exact point where people in the comments are already starting to type, saying, you know, oh, some of us have got jobs, some of us have got this, some of us have got that. Now, I just want to put it out there. I play WoW about 15 hours a week. Normally, maximum. I would say recently it's been hovering between probably 10 and 12 hours a week. I log on at Raid. You know, I might stream for an hour here and there where I'm playing, but outside of that, I'm doing other things. I'm working on other things, not just sat playing the game. So it's not like it needs hours and hours and hours every day, 10, 12 hours a day, to be able to get to a point where you only need to raid log, because it really doesn't take that amount of time. So what I'm trying to say is seasonal wouldn't actually be that bad. And if it doesn't suit you, if you are one of those people that's currently 61, 62, you're really taking your time, you're not in a rush, you're not in a rush to raid, you just want to get to 70, maybe do some casual dungeons, some PvP, you know, you're not in a rush, then that's absolutely fine, because seasonal servers, I'm not saying that should be all of them, but there could be one in each region, which is a seasonal server, where it just cycles through from classic, like, to all the way to the end of TBC currently, maybe RAF eventually, which I can probably see coming. But it cycles from Classic to TBC, 12 months of Classic, 12 months of TBC, rinse, repeat. You know, you can save your characters if you like, but I wouldn't even bother with that. You know, I would say if you're on a seasonal realm, just accept the fact that when it restarts after 2 years, you start at 1 again. You know, a lot of people wouldn't be bothered about that. And I say a lot of people because the seasonal approach would suit the private server players. And there's no private server player in the world who's that bothered about their characters, which seems strange. But you've got to remember, when you're constantly going from new project to new project, when you're on the newest project, you forget about the old one and you don't really ever go back to it. You might log on it once, I don't know, just to go and see what's going on that server maybe, but probably not even that, because odds are when the new servers come, so when like a new TBC server comes, the old ones tend to die out. And I'm not saying they die completely, but they fizzle out. So that's exactly what we're seeing now in retail. Well, not retail, but you know, in the classic, like non-private server scene. We're seeing TBC come out, classic era servers are dying. I mean, that was obvious. You know, I was saying ages ago, like, who wants to carry on with classic era? And there are some people, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure those people are enjoying themselves alone in Stormwind all day, all night. But, you know, that's entirely up to them. But ultimately, when the new expansion comes out, you know the last one's going to really suffer. So how you stop that happening is constantly keeping it revived, like reviving it over and over again. And seasonal servers, for me, that's the way to go. But fresh TBC, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm being stupid by asking for fresh TBC servers? I know some of you, especially the ones that, you know, you've never played private servers, which is the right way to be. You should never play private servers. But, you know, you've only ever played classic or retail, so you're not in that same mindset of restarting continuously because you get really attached to your character. So, and I completely appreciate that. That's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way to be. But I know there'll be a lot of us, myself included, obviously, I'd jump on a fresh TBC realm today, literally today. And I reckon the majority of our guild would do exactly the same thing, because it's that rush of starting again, getting to 70, doing the pre-raid gearing, all of that. You know, that's for me, that's the fun stuff. The logging on a Wednesday for, you know, an hour to clear all tier 4 content, then log off again for a week. That's not so fun, but, you know. Anyway, I know this is a bit ranty, but I just wanted to put it out there. You know, I wanted to see what you guys think about fresh TBC private servers. I nearly said it again. Fresh TBC Classic Realms servers, whatever you want to call them. Would you be on board? Would you not be bothered? You know, let me know in the comments. But like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.